Hello and welcome to CIS 241, Windows Server 2012 R2 Services. We're going to be doing an activity out of this book, which is on page 247. It is activity 666, creating a failover cluster. You're going to need 412 server 1, 412 server 2, and 412 server 3. Let me get this out of the way for us. Alright, and there's a good spot right there. Okay, so your cluster servers and network environment have been validated. So it's time to create the failover cluster. What we want to do is log on the 412 server 2 as the domain administrator if necessary. Let's go to server 2. Make sure you're on server 2. Open the failover cluster manager if necessary. Go to tools. Go down here. And we're going to create a cluster as soon as this opens up. Create a cluster. In the actions pane, this will start the wizard. Read the information in the before you begin window and then click next, such as this wizard creates a cluster, which is a set of servers that work together. Increase availability of clustered roles if one of the server fails. If one of the servers fails, another server begins hosting the clustered roles, process known as failover. Before you run this wizard, we strongly recommend that you run the validated configuration wizard. I did do that in the last activity and it was successful. Microsoft supports a cluster solution only if the complete configuration server's network and storage can pass all tests in the validated configuration wizard. If not, you need to be able to do that before we can continue on this. So we've clicked created a cluster, read everything, just click next. In the select servers window, we're going to type 412 server 2 and click add. There it is. Then we're going to do the same thing with 412 server 3 and also add it. Get them both connected for the cluster. After they're both in the selected servers that you wanted selected, hit next. And you're going to notice in the access point for administering the cluster window right here, this box is what I'm talking about. You're going to type failover, failover 1 in the cluster name text box. You want to click here to type an address and type 10.12.1150. Just backspace it real quick. 10.12.1.150. A host record with the name and address is added to the DNS. That's what we're doing here. And the activity directory computer object is created. So click next. And if you're wondering how you should be looking on this, you can check out the figure example 622 on page 248. That'll show you what's going on if you're not seeing what I just showed you on the screen. The configure, step 6, the confirmation window shows the settings for creating the cluster, which include the cluster name, the IP address, and the nodes in the cluster. Now click next, move on to creating a new cluster. If errors or warnings are reported in the summary window, click view report. I'm hoping we just get there without any. To have a nice, smooth, successful video. Let me move my little time glass so you can read what's going on. Attempting node and disk majority. You have successfully completed the cluster wizard. That is excellent. Click finish. And the window that said create cluster is what I was explaining a little bit with the nodes, IP address, and cluster, what it's named and everything. Now we're going to move to step 8. The next step is to review the cluster configuration and failover cluster manager. In the middle pane, review the cluster summary. As you see, we got the name failover 1.412.1.local, 412 server 3 as the current host, cluster network 1, IPv4, none in the last hour. In the left pane, we want to click to expand the cluster name. And then we want to click on the nodes to check out what kind of nodes to view the servers and their status in the middle pane. Status is up, assigned vote 1, current vote 1. And click on the 412 server 2 in the middle pane. As you can see down here, it'll show you some status. Everything down there. And it shows the details about this node's a little more clerical, clarifies it a little more. You know, you have your network connections. Check out the roles, disk, pools, which we only have a network connection right now. Okay, so in the left pane, click to expand the storage, and then click on disks. This is going to show our disk that we have. We have cluster disk 1 and cluster disk 2. And the two of the disks are shared storage from the ISCSI-SAN. The third disk is on the 412 server 2. Notice that cluster disk 1 has been assigned to disk witness and quorum. Now in the left pane, we also want to click our networks, verify that. And we're going to review the cluster networks. Because you have only one NIC, there's only one network assigned to cluster network 1, and its cluster use is listed as cluster and client. See that? If you had two NIC configuration cards, one network would be listed as internal and close the failed cluster manager. Now we're going to log on to 412 server 1 as an administrator if necessary, and we want to open our activity in directory users and computers. And we're going to click the computers folder right here. You should see the new computer account created for the cluster named Failover 1. It's right up there with 412 server 2, 3, and Win8. Close the activity directory users and computers. And open up the DNS manager and look into the 412 DOM1 local. My DNS manager is right here. And when you get the DNS manager up, look into the 412 DOM1 local zone, which is right here. And as we're looking in here, you should see the failover 1A record now. It's right there. A record has been created. So we verified that we had the record A here. We verified that our network connections, and we verified that this was a very successful failover clustering creation. Any other comments or questions, you guys feel free to ask me. If you got lost on this video, I'll be more than happy to answer on my channel. Sometimes I don't always get back right away, but just feel free to hit me up. Have a good night. Thanks for joining.